in this video I wanted to share something with you guys real quick. VL trucking isn't working for everybody, bro. You know what I mean? And I wanted to give you guys an heads up before you guys come here, so you could know. Because what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to come on this platform and speak like it's perfect, it's all dandy, or whatever the case is. I'm just making a lot of money, there's nothing going on and all that stuff. I will say this, for it's what might work for you, it might not work for somebody else. And I know a few people here, from company driver, being company drivers, to lease operators. You know what I mean? For the most part, it's working for some, but there's people that it doesn't actually work for. You know what I mean? I'm gonna speak on the company side, and I'm gonna speak on my situation, the company side and the lease side. As far as it is for me, right? This is just basically from me. What I look for the communication between, because the only person I really communicate with is my dispatch. You know what I mean? Communicate with my dispatch, and every now and then I have to communicate with the logs department. You know what I mean? Other than that, maybe they'll call me like for paperwork or something random or whatever the case is, but nothing too. I don't really deal with like a lot of people, so I look for communication. Communication is key. That is good for me. I will say this about before I go more into the video. It depends on the dispatcher you have. You know what I mean? There's been ups and downs with my dispatch. You know what I mean? There's a few things here and there that I don't like. Let me give you 2 examples. It's not that big of a deal. I'm not complaining. I'm just giving you 2 examples. This load that I'm on, it was paying 40. It's paying 4,200. And it was 1,500 miles. So automatically I know 1,500. If the load is paying 2,000, if the load is paying 3,000 and it's 1,500 miles, I know that's like $2 a mile. You know what I mean? So for it to be paying 4,200, I know it's over $2 a mile. That's automatically, because I try to calculate it as quick as possible in my mind, and then I break everything down before I give her a go ahead. She kind of did this on the fly because it was boiling down. I had another load that was supposed to be delivered, and they're off on Saturdays and Sundays. She can dispatch me, but if she doesn't have to, I personally don't want her to. And all that. So she kind of did this on the fly. It was like 20 minutes to 5, and I believe they get off work at 5 o'clock. So she got this load. She got a few loads before that. She got like 2 loads, and they ended up being picked up by somebody else or whatever the case is. So she did this load on the fly. She said it was 1,500 miles. I drove 95 miles to get there. You know what I mean? Usually, the way we communicate, I tell her, when you're telling me about the miles, don't just tell me what the loaded miles are. Tell me how much I got a deadhead to get there. I drove 95 miles to get there. When I got there and I started my navigation, it was 1,533. So that's about what, 129, 128 added miles on top of the 1,500 miles. So that's like 16, because I already did the calculation. You know what I mean? And I feel like she didn't tell me. It's not like I was going to refuse the load or whatever, but I feel like she didn't tell me because it was more so on the fly, and she didn't want me to say no, try to find me something else or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? So that little sneak thing, she know that I don't like that, and I've spoken to her about how just communicate, because I'm not a difficult driver. You know what I mean? I try to be understanding. I don't refuse like a lot of loads. I'm not picky as to where I go. I try to keep things nice and smooth. Next thing, I got delayed on this load, so I ended up not making the appointment for last night, because I was supposed to make it here. On Monday night, 7 p.m. Got delivered. She said she was going to try to find me like a 24-hour shipper, have me pick up another load before the pay period cuts off, and then my gross would be about close to like $10,000 to the truck for the week. But I did make it, which there were reasons beyond my control. so I couldn't make it. So she told me no, that I told her like, hey, I'm not gonna make the appointment, so see if you can speak to the broker or whoever and see if you can get a new appointment for me. No, she knows that we're on the same aim of me getting here before 12 o'clock tomorrow, before the pay period cuts off and all that stuff. So she texts me back and she said, hey, they changed the appointment, but if you get there early, they'll still take you early. Okay, so I know get here, right? It's what? It's like 5 o'clock in the morning right now. So I get here now only to find out that they stop unloading at 3 a.m. and they start back at 3 p.m. You know what I mean? When she told me they changed the appointment time and they'll still take me early, she didn't mention to me that what the appointment time, and I noticed that, but it's like we're on the same aim of me getting here before 12 o'clock. So it's like, you know what I mean, I didn't think she would get an appointment for after 12 o'clock and not tell me that, hey Jay, you're not going to be able to get this $4,000 on this paycheck or whatever, which very rare. I think this is maybe, if not the first or second time I'm gonna have to roll over a paycheck. I think this is the first time I'm gonna have to actually roll over a trip onto the next pay period, and this is like, yeah, this is basically the first. So now I get here and now I'm finding out, and the way she made it seem is like, you know, oh, they will still unload you early if you get there. So now I got here. So basically, if they're gonna unload me at 3 p.m., I'm not gonna be able to get this trip on this pay period, and the gross to the truck is 4,500, I believe, already, and this trip was paying 4,200, so that would make it 8,700 to the truck. So basically, all I'm gonna get paid for this pay period ending, only going, the gross to the truck is gonna be 4,500. The 500 is gonna go to the for the truck payment, and then they're gonna subtract fuel out of the 4,000 that's left, and then they're gonna take their 22% out of that. But after that, I'm basically gonna have a head start for 4,200 for the next pay period, so that the gross could go like all the way up if I run a normal week. You know what I mean? So I get a small paycheck now, but then I'll get a very large paycheck depending on how my week goes, you know, which, like I said, is a first. But back to the main point, it's not working for everybody. Now what I look for is communication, one, and consistency. You know what I mean? It's not like I can only speak on my situation. It's not like what I look for is not, I'm not looking for like making $6,000 after deductions this week, and then the other week you just make $800, then the other week you make $1,500, and then the other week you make, you know what I mean? I'm looking for consistency. So I have a target, right? My target, and I can only speak on my situation, my target is 5,000 after all deductions. And like I said, consistency is key. So far they've been keeping me consistent, you know what I mean? The markets are up right now. I do reefer, other people do driver, and I can speak for the driver and I can only speak for the reefer, you know what I mean? So with that being said, with my thing being consistently making over $5,000, very maybe one or two I'd see like 45, 48, but you know what I mean, just to give you guys an idea. But consistency is what I'm looking for, and so far it's been consistent. However, other drivers that I've spoken to, they've had issues with whether it's their dispatcher. I haven't really heard anybody speaking much on their trucks, like saying, oh, their trucks have been broken down, or you know, that all that stuff. I haven't really spoken to anybody that tell me, you know, a situation like that. But mostly they're saying it's the dispatcher, you know what I mean? Whether they're having this problem with the dispatcher, or you see what I mean? I know company drivers that weren't hitting, you know, the target of like $1,500, which I felt like I was like, whoa. Firstly, because like from my situation, I thought that, you know, everybody was for the most part, you're gonna make bread. Because I'm not discouraging anybody. I'm just saying what might work for somebody else might not work for you. And it just depends on the communication skills, the communication between you and your dispatch, and what you got going on. You know what I mean? Because there's a few things that, you know what I mean, here and there. But for me, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, the communication between their dispatch, you know, they're not really hitting the target numbers. That's for company, you know what I mean, as far as like miles. Because what was happening in one situation, it's like, you know, this person is getting, you know, X amount of miles short runs, but their company, you know what I mean. And usually what I'm interpreting from it is like these short runs are hazmat loads, so they're paying really good. So it's benefiting the dispatcher and the company because they're getting short miles, high paying loads. But for the company driver that's running cents per mile, it's not good. You know what I mean? Because they probably just do like, you know, 2 little short runs. I've had hazmat loads going for like 700 miles that were paying like $4,000. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it. If for the week they decided to just give that driver 2 hazmat loads that were paying $4,000 each, the gross is already $7,000 to the truck. So they don't have to like work as hard to get them another load or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? So if they're both going 1,700 miles, that's 1,400 miles for the week. And if a company driver is running for 70 cents and 1,400 miles, you know, it's not the target that you're trying to hit. You know what I mean? So that's a part of it too, but that would benefit you if you were leasing and you had those short runs and those are high paying loads and you could squeeze 1 or 2 more into it. You know what I mean? That would definitely be good for you. Your gross would be up the, you know, out the roof, and then you'd not spend that much on fuel and all that stuff, and you know what I mean, it would be good that way, you know. So that's one thing. I know lease operators here, not many, but they've been having the issues with, again, the dispatchers. You know, dispatcher either playing games, trying to play some games with them, or you know what I mean, this simple communication type of thing, and the way they're dispatching them, you know what I mean. For me, like I said, I take the good with the bad with my dispatcher. That's why I haven't really like jumped to switch, because at one point in time, you know, she was doing some little funny stuff and I just kind of had a talk with her, and went over everything, and I tried to meet her halfway. Like I said, I'm not a difficult driver, I'm not picky, I'm not picky, and I'm not like, you know what I mean. But sometimes you don't even have to be picky with some of these dispatchers, to be honest, you know what I mean. Sometimes you don't even gotta do that. Sometimes they just do some stuff like, you gotta wonder, you know what I mean. So like for instance, I met this guy the other day. I don't know if I had said it in one of my other videos, but I met this guy the other day. He was driving, and he was like, you know, he's struggling to make X amount of money, and I was like, yeah, you can come over here, you can make some decent bread or whatever. And then he's telling me if he gotta go up to like Washington, he's not going. If he got a chain, he's not going, and all that stuff. Now I get it, you know what I mean. I would prefer to run where I don't have to chain. But you see, like, people gonna look on my situation and they're gonna say, then how comes you're making this amount of money, or how comes your money is staying so consistent? What I'm willing to do, you might not be willing to do it. You see what I mean? Because if she called me right now, I'm in New York. You see what I mean? A lot of people won't go to, even though I'm not anywhere like in close to the city. I'm in the north side, like right on the border of PA and New York. But there's a lot of drivers where if you get a call right now and say you gotta go to New York, you're not gonna want to go. If you get a call right now and say you're going to Washington, you're not gonna want to go. You know what I mean? So what might work for somebody else might not work for you, because maybe you're not willing to do whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? Because the guy is going to tell me, oh, if I have to chain, I'm not going. You know what I mean? I had a load going up to Washington the other day. It paid, I think, 65 going up there, and that was one load, and then coming back out, and it wasn't even, I think it was like 2,800 miles total, including the deadhead or something like that. Yeah, I believe it was like 2070 or about, and it was paying like 6 grand, and I got like 62 coming back out of there, and I got all of that done on one pay period. You see what I mean? So that's why my gross can be up, and then again I run reefer. You know what I mean? I can't speak for the driver, and I don't know what it's like for the driver. And these drivers that I mostly speak to, they are running drive, and there's one guy that didn't specify what he was running, but you know, I run reefer. You know what I mean? That's a lot of people. Then again, that's what I'm saying. It goes back to what you're willing to do from what you're not willing to do, because a lot of people won't run reefer. You know what I mean? They feel like it's, which is true. There's a lot of times you go to shippers and receivers and they take a hella long time to get you loaded and unloaded. You know what I mean? So I feel like it depends on the individual. What I look for consistency, communication, and bro, like, let me tell you, like, you can't get comfortable in this game. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. You can't get comfortable. Can't get comfortable with the lease. You can't get comfortable with the company. You can't get comfortable with the type of money that you're making. You know what I mean? It just, you just shouldn't. Everybody is just different, and I can just speak on my own situation. But like I said, I'm giving you guys 100% the truth. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily working for everybody. For the most part, I'd say 90% of who I know here, they're making bread and they're not complaining. But I've met drivers also that it didn't work out for. I had a driver commented on one of my videos the other day saying he's happy that it's working out for me, and he actually came here and it didn't work out for him. I had another one that said he came here, he was basically here maybe like what, 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, he came with the intention of leasing, and then he ended up, they telling that he had to go company, and he's here sitting waiting for a load. Like, you know, I'm giving you guys 100% the honest truth, because I'm not saying everything is perfect, and I don't want to mislead anybody. You know what I mean? You gotta take the steps at your own risk. You got to know your own situation, know your overhead costs, know if you can afford to go leasing. Somebody asked me a valid question, like, how much do you think do you need before, like, in your bank account before you go leasing? I would say bare minimum keep 5 grand at hand. You know what I mean? Now you can freestyle it, you can come fresh and go right out the box, go leasing, but it's the risk that you're willing to take. You don't know the background of the truck, you don't know how the truck is like. And like, the good thing with VL, like, if you have a major breakdown or whatever, and I've said this already and I'm gonna say it again, if you have a major breakdown, you say something major happens with your truck and it's gonna be out for like a week, they told me they will tow it for you. They will send their own tow truck to tow it for you. You're gonna have to pay for it, obviously, but it's gonna be cheaper than the other towing. If your truck is gonna be out for like 2 weeks or whatever, they will give you another truck to run for the period, but you're gonna have to pay the same $500 for that truck. Now you're gonna be at $1,000 instead of $500 a week. You're gonna be at $1,000, but you gotta look at it, instead of sitting for 2 weeks not having any income and having the $500 come out for each of those weeks, or you could have $1,000 come out and still have some income, be able to pay your bills. I'd say, you know, you probably go with that, because not a lot of companies are gonna do that for you. You know what I mean? If your truck needs work, they will route you to Chicago and you can have their mechanics do the work on the truck, which is much cheaper than you getting the work done out here on the road. They have an account with Loves where you can put stuff on the account. It's 10% if you do that. But if you call them and they write you an EFS check, there's a way to go around that 10%. If they write you an EFS check to pay for whatever it is, then you don't pay the 10%. And this way you can keep the money that you have, and then what they do, they take it back out of your check, which is what I would do. You know what I mean? No matter how much money I have set in my maintenance account for whatever it is that happens, as long as I can call them and they can write me an AFS check to pay for whatever it is, I'm going to keep my money and I'm going to let them take it back out of my check. You know what I mean? So they will do a lot of things for you that they're not gonna leave you out there stranded or whatever. And the impression that I was under, this is something that you guys got to confirm with them first if you're gonna go leasing. Within the first month of leasing, if something goes wrong with the truck, they will take care of it. Now, when I asked them about that, they said no, they wouldn't take care of it because I was already running the truck company for a whole month. So if something was wrong with the truck, I would have found out by then. So basically, when I signed my lease, they were like, you're leasing the truck as is because you've already been driving the truck. You see what I mean? Now, I don't know if you're coming in fresh and you're just gonna start and you go straight to the leasing. Maybe that still applies, but that's something that you got to confirm with them. You know what I mean? So I don't want to drag this video out any longer. I have another video coming up that you guys should look out for, but like I said, I got to keep it 100. I got to let you guys know it's not perfect, it's not working for everybody, but for the most part, I'd say 90% to 95% of who I talk to, everybody's making bread, they're comfortable. I'm yet to speak to anybody that's doing teaming. Spoke to one lady and it didn't work out for her. She said the driver that she was teaming with, the driver was very mean. The driver wanted her to do all the night shifts. The driver would bump music loudly when she's asleep, talk on the phone. So it didn't work out for her. She's driving a brand new 2020 right now. And I said, do you want a teammate? She's like, no. She don't want no more teammate. That's what she said. So that's another thing about team driving too. I'm not going to go too much into it, but like I said, I have another video coming out, so you guys can look out for that. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel because I drop at least 1 or 2 videos per week. And if you guys have already subscribed, like the video, share the video, comment down below, let me know what you think. If you're working here at VL, let me know what your experience is, and let me know if you worked here at VL, what your experience was. You know what I mean? I'll see you guys in the next one.